One of the favorite memories I have for Apex and the surrounding area is Christmas. It was a great time. Apex, like any childhood memory, was a winter wonderland. But for the downtown area, there was always a special effort, it seemed, with the dime store and whatnot, the Red Rider wagons and whatnot lit up, and always there was a Santa Claus. That was very exciting, favorite time, because we lived out in the country, farmers, and to get a chance to go to town, to see it lit up in this gala was a special time for us. And we learned later that our Santa Claus happened to be from our area. And Holland Road is named for the gentleman, and that made it special too. But it kind of made it a time when you were disappointed to know that the Santa Claus from North Pole didn't come. He was busy all around, and so that was a great time. An important memory for my life was having been a middle child. I'm the fifth of seven. And my older brothers and sisters, I had an older brother who was 7 years older than I, so this was a time when they were getting ready to go into adult life, and they didn't have much of a job opportunity here, so they were a part, as I was briefly, a part of the Great Migration. A lot of people do not know about the Great Migration. The Great Migration was a time when 6 million African American youth went north, took the route north to find work, because there was not any industry here. And that was the bigger migration than any migration even to America, with the Italians, the Jewish people, the Irish. None of that migration was as large as the Great Southern Migration. So I lost contact with my older sibling, and that was kind of a momentous time when it kind of upset my balance in life and family life, as you can imagine. It's the spirit of the place, of having a central city with so many wonderful communities around, that makes for a diverse and wonderful population, and for the modern times, for the times now, to see so many people come here with great expectations, which we don't disappoint. They come and they love Apex. We always loved it, but it's wonderful to see that other people love it as much as we do and want to live here. So I think that's a great thing that I've been blessed to be able to see over my time here. The only time I was not living here was the time I was away in college for 4.5 years, and my migration route was short, much shorter than my older sibling. I only went to Virginia and then back home. Many of them went to New York City and had to come a long way back. Oh my goodness. Much of my hopes has been fulfilled already, to see an African American mayor in the town of Apex, and all of the other advances that have been made here. I know that a lot of people regret that they have lost their farms or whatever to housing and developments and whatnot. But life is a constant change. That's one thing that's inevitable, is change. And change is constant. So if you embrace change, you have a wonderful life. And that's what Apexians have done. They've embraced the change, they've embraced the growth. We've gained new friends, new businesses. There was a time when we even had to go to Raleigh in September to buy our school clothes. Now we don't even have to leave Apex. We don't have to go to Cary. We can come right here and do all that we need to have done for our livelihood. So much of it's already been fulfilled, and I think that Apex has a real bright future in terms of what is to come. I know that there's a lot of new industry coming here. Research Triangle Park, I remember when it was developed in 1960, and it gave great hope for the people of this area, and it hasn't disappointed. But the best is yet to come. It was a three-county area. They call it the Research Triangle Park, 3 counties, Wake, Durham, and Orange. Now I believe it's developed almost to maybe 7 or 8 counties. I know we're having a lot of industry coming to Chatham County, which we live down near Chatham, with the Vencar electric car company coming and the microchip industry moving into that area. This was a vast expanse of land down there. I just would love to live to see all that the promises fulfill that I think will happen here in this area. And Apex will be a center spoke in the wheel. The cities in the north, the Great Migration on the East Coast went from the southern states to places like Washington, D.C., Baltimore, New York, Boston, and whatnot. And that was after Jim Crow, when Reconstruction was after the Revolutionary War and the Emancipation Proclamation, and then, of course, Jim Crow came about, and a lot of them had then to move on the migration route. Back in the 70s, when industry came to the South, that trend reversed, and they came back to the South. Many of them could come back to industrial jobs here. So that was true of the East Coast. There was also a middle passage of migration from the Delta states up to Chicago and St. Louis and places like that. And those kids in Texas went to California. So you can imagine it was a massive movement of people. And it's just so good to see that they were able to come back to what they had here in family. They came back for family ties, for jobs, and et cetera. So that was a great thing for me to see, and sad to see it go, and wonderful to see it come back, people come back to the South. The other thing that's special about the Apex area, and I say area because it encompasses quite a lot of communities in and around it, and I feel like Apex is ahead of its time. It has been in times past. Doesn't mean that times were always good. There were some bad times, an area of time in which we had some conflict with our police chief, and that was corrected, and we have a great police department now with a great police chief. And so I think the diversity of Apex and the educational level attainment has contributed to the fact that Apex is ahead of its time. Now, you can find out in the annals of history at the archives in Raleigh that the Rosenwald schools, which were prominent here in North Carolina, of the 15 states from Maryland to Texas, North Carolina had more schools, 15 states, 27 schools in North Carolina alone, which was the most of any state. So my point is that North Carolina, having gotten an early start of the youth with their desire and love for learning, really catapulted the population here in Apex and Western Wake County in particular. There were 3 Rosenwald schools here, into a position where in 1960, when the Research Triangle Park came about with IBM, many of the kids, because they were driven for the thirst for education, they had gone on to the HBCUs such as Shaw University, St. Augustine's, North Carolina Central University. I went to Norfolk State University. The HBCUs were in the right place at the right time, and the time was right for the youth. Many of us returned home rather than go back to Virginia or wherever or stay there. and create the kind of family here in Apex that catapulted the whole area into a position where we were ready to receive industry, to get good jobs, to start families, to build homes, to buy cars, and that has made Apex what it is today. That was the inception. That was the thing that really got us started off on the right foot. So I think that's wonderful.